this is the first thing I've played on guitar all day, so it's like when I pick up like Bach first thing in the morning. No warm up, just and my nail is. I totally thrashed my nail working on something this week, so it sounds funny to me. It's like, hey Claudio, what's going on? Like I said, my finger's not woken up yet. Hey, 6'9", Bob, Bruce, everybody's in the house. What are we looking at? Pepper. Oh, Pepper's ready for Halloween. Oh. And Sadie's here. Oh, we got a good turnout. AJ, good morning. Happy Monday. I think we're gonna, well, we've got a special thing today, so we're gonna do that in a minute. Yeah, I like this piece though by Bach. It's just Prelude in D minor. Let's see, there. I remember. See, the ending is just Strahle. Yeah, it's ends on A major. The whole thing's in D minor, and yet it ends on the 5, the major 5, which I thought was interesting. How do they want me to finger that? Oh, I see. I see. Oh, that's right. It's open B. So I'm playing A up here. Joseph, hey, Joseph's here. Wendy, good to see you. Bruce is on the road. Yeah, it's just that Bach guy was pretty cool. It's been a long time since I played that. This is a pretty good. It's a pretty good book. Okay, all right. So I have a unboxing that I'm going to do. So you're going to get to see a new instrument that I have coming. So hopefully, we've been talking about this, I think, before. So you might know about this instrument. Hey, David, good to see you. Both Davids are in the house. We got a good turnout today. What are we at? We're already at 21. Okay, that's good. We're going to talk a little about ear, but we're going to talk about this instrument, I think, too. And I can't believe how bright it is. I've got the window literally closed as much as I can. Oh, there we go. That's better. Okay, well, here comes my instrument. I actually have an assistant today. Look at this.
Tom, on behalf of everyone.
Come over here get in here. Sorry, Bruce. We have a visitor.
Hi everyone. Tom, on behalf of everyone on your live stream, on your website, on your YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and me personally, in a very great way, you've been a great impact on my life, and on behalf of everyone, I want to thank you for that. The amount of knowledge that you shared with us, the value of that knowledge. This is just the cigar box guitar is just a my way of thanking you for all that you've done for us, and hopefully we can look forward to a bunch more.
Yeah.
and maybe I'll build you another one.
Yeah. No, this is so. uh, it's virtually dark here. Okay, you see who's here, right? We got Bruce. Bruce is indeed on the road.
Yeah.
And he's in California. So Bruce is one of my moderators, and if you don't know, so he's the Bruce, and it's on here. It's Bruce Ringrose, right?
Yep.
Which that's kind of what I thought the RR was on this.
No.
There's an RR on the headstock, and it's Ridge Rat. That's the name of your
Ridge Rat Cigar Box Guitars. That's the name of my, for lack of a better term, company. Although I don't ever really intend to do it commercially. I will build one for anyone that likes to have one. Obviously, Tom didn't pay for any of that. Obviously, I built it all. I bought the necessary parts. But if someone is interested, wants me to build one for them, I'm happy to build one. I've got a couple that I'm working on now for the husband of the niece, actually, and the son of my sister-in-law, and another husband of my niece. So, but other than paying for the parts, my labor is free. I'll tell you, you tell me what you want on it, and I'll build it, and you can pay me for the parts.
You have a wood shop in your basement or in your garage, or?
Generally, I have a workroom in my house, and that is kind of where all of my hobbies reside in various forms. I have my computer, my music set up there, such as it is. I have another spot in my guest bedroom that I work on, and then of course I have a workbench out in my garage where I do the heavy stuff,
the dirty work,
the drilling and sawdust and so forth.
Yeah, anything that's going to generate sawdust is out in the garage. Yeah, that was the same as my grandfather. He had a workshop in his garage in Florida, in Naples.
Yeah,
on the other coast. You're on the east coast of Florida.
Yeah, southeast coast.
Yeah, and they were in Naples, which is southwest coast.
Yeah, on the other side. I've been to Naples several times. My father-in-law had a condo there that he used to winter in. So my wife and I used to go down. He would head back north in early May, and right after he left, my wife and I would go down and spend a week in the condo. It was nice because we'd come out of New England, the weather was crappy. We'd go down to Florida for a week and come back. The weather's finally changed, and spring is here. The snow is gone. So.
Yep. So let's see. See, Bruce Sly Devil, Wendy said. Bruce says he's slacking today. Bob said that. Brother Bruce, you tricked us. Holly said, you tricked us. Well played, Bruce. 69. Bruce, let's see. AJS tells you to be careful out here. Yeah, he is going to San Francisco. We were just talking about that. He's asking his cousin if it's overblown, the crime thing in San Francisco. I just said, don't even take a chance. Don't leave anything in your car if you can help it.
I don't leave anything in the car at home.
Yeah, I don't do that. It's people are always amazed how empty my trunk is, how clean it is. But it's because I need it for gear, and so if I need to fill it up for gear, I don't want to be taking stuff out. But I have a sedan. People say, oh, you should get an SUV. You can get a lot more gear in it. And I'm like, yeah, the problem with an SUV is people can see in the back. I mean, unless the windows are super tinted, or they can break a window and get stuff. Whereas a trunk, people generally don't pop trunks, but I even saw in San Francisco, people were just leaving their trunks open. Like, don't pop my trunk, it's nothing in here kind of thing. Which I guess that could get bad because if it rains, you imagine having wet trunk, that smell, that mildew smell when you spill water in your car. So let's see.
AJ said he wants to know if you can mic me up. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I turned up the microphone here because it's Bruce. You are a little quiet, I think, but I kind of tend to have a booming voice. I'm just going to scooch him in here a little bit more.
All right, and I'll talk a little louder, AJ.
Yeah. And so I've got my piano. Where's my piano? Right here.
Joseph, I'll send you a message on Discord about building one. The parts aren't all that expensive, depending on what parts you want on it and whether or not you want really high quality, almost commercial, like a Fender Martin or something pickup, or you want to go with the cigar box vibe, which is basically to build them out of anything left lying around your house.
David S. wants one too. Boy, you're going to get all... See, I told you were going to have all sorts of new customers, so...
David S. says what?
He says, I want one too.
Oh.
When you have time.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've got some that I'm going to be working on now that this one's done. This one's been my primary objective, to get this one built.
It's funny because it's the same tuning as the tie pin, but the tie pin doesn't have all the frets. Remember, it's like just I can only play in minor keys if I'm using the open string. So the great thing about this is it's chromatic. So I have every note at my disposal.
Little bit about it.
Yeah.
It's got a single coil pickup.
Right here.
5.5 K ohms.
It's even got 3 pull pins, so it's specifically made for cigar box guitars.
It's got a maple neck, a Padauk fretboard.
Yeah. So look at the neck. Neck feels great. It's square-ish. It's very square, but it's very rounded here on the edges, so it's not sharp at all. It feels solid, and the balance is great because the neck goes through the body, which he said was not easy, because the top of the cigar box is sunk into the box itself.
The lid goes down into the.
So you had to cut out the thickness of the lid from the neck as it went through the body. But because the neck continues here, that mass is here allows for it to be pretty balanced for a cigar box guitar. Like I can put my arm here and play. We didn't do strap pins. Oh no, you did do a strap pin.
Yep,
here.
it's got a strap pin.
And then I can tie up there.
Yep.
Yeah. And then there's an output.
Yep.
No knobs, no tone. I can do that all inside the amp or the box or whatever. And then these are for the acoustic. So I'm sorry, you got more to say about this.
The box is very heavily constructed as opposed to a lot of cigar box guitars. So acoustically, it's probably not going to be that great. But one of the very prolific builders that I follow on YouTube says these Java cigar boxes are excellent for electric guitars because they provide a lot of sustain, just like a heavy Gibson or something. The bridge is a little bit of Padauk that I carved, and then the saddle, if you can see it.
Oh, wait, there we go.
That saddle is a piece of copper wire.
Yep.
That I basically flattened out and ground down so that it'd sit in a slot that I put in the top of the bridge.
And so is the RR.
Right. On the headstock, that's my logo, RR, for Ridge Rat Cigar Box Guitars. And that is also a piece of wire. It's called wire inlay. You can find some of those videos on YouTube. I'm guessing, because I've never seen it. I've never seen a guitar on YouTube or anywhere else that has wire inlay on the headstock. It's all celluloid and tortoiseshell and whatever that most of the people build. But a piece of copper wire that I cut a slot in the headstock, fit the wire in, glued it in, and then ground it down flush with the headstock. And this is the Tom Strahle signature model.
Yeah.
The signature models have a crown on the headstock. You can see it there.
Yeah.
And I, to make it personalized,
Silhouette.
that is the profile of Mount Shasta here in Northern California, up by Holly.
Yep.
And it's the profile of the mountain from north to south. That's what the mountain looks like. It's basically an extinct volcanic cone.
Although I hear we're having rumblings up there.
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Holly, is that right? How close are you to the potential super volcano they're talking about? I've been hearing about. We have a super volcano. I don't know who had that on their bingo card for 2023, but oh, Bruce, Bob wants to know: did you smoke the cigars?
No, I buy those cigar boxes at smoke shops. You know, for them it's a piece of waste. The box is empty. They sold the cigars to customers, and what are they going to do with the box? It's wood. You can't recycle. You can't throw wood in the recycle. So I can go in and usually buy empty boxes for $5 or $10 from them.
They're happy. Yeah, they're happy about that.
Yeah, they're getting some profit out of a box that would be waste for them.
Yeah,
So, and depending on the quality of the box, I won't pay any more than that. I can buy boxes online if I want.
Yeah.
One of the major suppliers of cigar box guitars on the web is called CB Giddy. They're located up in Rochester, New Hampshire. You can buy an actual cigar box from them if you want, as opposed to chasing one down in a local smoke shop or something.
Also makes sense though that it says Java on their cigars, and I'm always drinking coffee on Monday mornings, so I'm wondering if Bruce has to get his drink there.
Yep.
I'm wondering if
I've got mine.
Make sure you have it. So these are the box is from Nicaragua. So I'm assuming the wood is from Nicaragua then.
Yes, the wood is from Nicaragua, and as I said, I'm not sure exactly what kind of wood it is. It seems to be some sort of manufactured wood because it certainly doesn't behave like any wood I've ever dealt with.
It actually does look like it is. Yeah, it definitely looks like some kind of pressed wood.
Yeah.
I mean,
the sides seem to be very much cedar as I was cutting into them to mount the neck in the box, but I wouldn't vouch for that because in doing some of the work, I found it did not act like normal wood would act like I would expect it based on my experience to act. So
right. Oh, Shasta 7 hours north. So where are you in relation to the supervolcano? The volcano won't blow that hard. I'm closer to San Francisco, Bruce. Okay, and that's where he's headed. To see his cousin and to not leave anything in his car.
Yeah, Shasta is way up north.
Yeah. Almost to Oregon, right? I think it's almost to Oregon.
Pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been up the coast that far. I've gone to San Francisco, and that's about as far up the coast.
Yeah.
My son Jack is getting married in Napa, so I'll be there next year. But I don't think we're going to take a trip from there. I think we have to get back. So it's in the middle of the school year, and Beth has to get back to teach. So we're not going to make it a trip. Also, today is our anniversary. Not mine and Bruce's, but mine and my wife's. And Bruce, you started. So I started this. You had followed me before because you did 7 Tips for Older Beginners.
Yes, that was the one that I caught.
That was the entry drug, right?
Yeah, early in 2019, I think.
2019, yeah. I think when did that video come out? It was 5 years ago, so 2018 is when I did it.
Okay.
I just looked that video up. It's at 3.8 million views, which is a lot.
It's a good video.
Yeah, I got lucky, and I caught lightning in a bottle, and I haven't been able to do it since. My next top videos are, let's see, the next one so far is 5 songs with 2 chords. I've done 3 of those videos, and where I kind of basically show you the 2 chords, and then maybe an easy way, if they're too hard chords, an easier way to play them. But the idea behind that was, and the kind of what I talk about in that 7 tips for older beginners, the um, the 5 songs with 2 chords. The whole idea is just to get you playing that song. You know, if you can play one song, then pretty soon you're playing 2 songs and 3 songs, and then you're having fun. You know, my vision is that you get good enough just to be able to sit around a campfire and do sing-alongs, where you can play some songs that, you know, they're actually probably the most fun I've ever had playing guitar is just sitting around with friends or family around a campfire playing songs. And to me, that, you know, that's like that's like the happiest times playing guitar. And not that I'm not happy all the time when I'm playing guitar, but sometimes it's kind of stressful. It depends on where I am and who I'm working for. Um, but that was kind of my thinking with that video, and then after that, a bunch of videos of mine that have really good subscriptions. Yeah. D.A.
Ollie asked about the colors of my shirt. I'm wearing the appropriate shirt today.
Yeah, it's the same right color too. Look at that.
The fact that they match is totally a coincidence.
Yeah, that's just kismet. Yeah, Beth and I today it was 36 years ago today. Oh my gosh, and I look like I was 12 in our wedding pictures. It's hilarious. It looks like it's a completely illegal wedding. Maybe I'll post a picture maybe later. Yeah, I hear that too, Holly, that they're leaving their windows open, and I saw people leaving their trunks open. I'm like, really? Because that's one of the reasons I have the sedan, is so that, you know, it's like, oh, no one's gonna pop a trunk just randomly. But I will, if I'm going to a gig and I've got a bunch of gear in the car and I'm done with the gig, I generally go home. I rarely, or if I'm going to a restaurant, I will back into the space and I will sit at a table that I can see my car. I know that sounds super paranoid. I've had gear stolen, and it's no fun. Back in '84, I had a guitar that I'd saved up for. In fact, I took a loan out for, so I had to keep making payments on it even after I didn't have it anymore. Didn't have insurance. The police couldn't do anything. And I don't have my keychain on me. I still have the neck plate on the keychain, on my keychain. And so when the police asked me if I had the serial number, I said, yeah, it's right here on my keychain, which of course did me no good because the serial number was no longer on the guitar. But it was a mid-'70s Stratocaster, and it sounded amazing. It was the best guitar I'd ever owned to that point. And I was a broke musician, and my stepdad loaned me money to buy it. And that was a bummer. And I was at a nightclub. I was at Madame Wong's West, which is in West Hollywood, or was in West Hollywood. And, you know, it's a famous club back in the day. The Police even played there when the very first tour of America, before anybody knew who they were. They played at Madame Wong's. And I had done my set, and I put my gear on the side of the stage with all the musicians. And when I talked to friends for about 20 minutes, and when I went to pick up my guitar, it was gone. And I thought for about a half an hour, I thought one of my bandmates was playing a joke on me, because we were always joking around, but they hadn't, and it was gone. And I remember being in shock, and I went to my friend John's house. It was probably 2 a.m, and he was so mad. I just sat there in the chair, shock, and he just did laps around me. I'm sitting in the chair. This is 3 a.m. He's doing laps around the chair, cussing up a storm. He was so mad that guitar got stolen. He was really mad for me, and he was really mad because he loved that guitar. Because we were recording a lot together. So, yeah, and that guitar had belonged to a guitar player named Caleb Quay.
Okay.
And Caleb, and the reason I'm not addressing you so much is because I want to make sure I'm speaking into the microphone.
Yeah.
But Caleb, I've told the story about Caleb and how grew up in London, and he used to work for Dick James Music as a runner. And he was a kid, like 15 years old. He had a bike. He would go, and publishing companies back in the day, they made all their money off of sheet music, right? And you remember going to the store to buy sheet music. Yep. And that was big money. And so Dick James would take the master tapes from recordings, and they would do all the sheet music so that when the record came out, the album came out, so did the sheet music at the same time. And so Dick James was sent, I mean, not Dick James, Caleb was sent to Abbey Road to pick up a master tape. And he goes there to Abbey Road to pick up a master tape, and it's a Beatles record. So he takes it, instead of taking it to Dick Rose, the Beatles master tape, he takes it to his friend Reginald's house, and they put it up on the reel-to-reel. Reginald, I guess his parents had reel-to-reel, or maybe it was his parents' house, and they listened to it, and it was Sgt. Pepper's, and they were the first people to ever hear Sgt. Pepper's. And Reginald was Elton John, so Caleb's best friend growing up was Elton John, and that was before he became Elton John.
Okay.
And then Caleb toured and played guitar for Elton John for years.
Nice.
And then he toured like in the early 80s with Hall & Oates.
Oh.
And he had a cocaine addiction, and he had a mansion in Beverly Hills, he had Bentleys and everything. He lost everything up his nose. So then he became a Christian, and he's a pastor now. He's still a guitar player. You can look him up, Caleb Quay. It's just Caleb, I think, regular Caleb, and then Quaye. He wrote a book. He gave it to me, and it's great. But when I finally met him, because I didn't know him back in those days, when I finally met him, I bought the guitar from an ex-student of his.
Oh.
And I met him, and I reminded him about that guitar, and this would have been like 40 years after it got stolen. I probably met Caleb in like 2014, and the guitar got stolen in '84.
Wow.
So 40 years later, I meet Caleb. Is that right? My math's wrong. 30 years later. 30 years later, I meet Caleb, and he says, do you want me to tell you what songs I played that guitar on? I said, no, I don't want to know. The person that stole it has no idea who it belonged to.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Doesn't know the value.
Yeah. Alex, my son Alex, he has pictures of it. There's just a few pictures of it, and he's trying to find it. I don't know if he's like always looking on Reverb and always,
okay.
He's like, I saw, he sent me a picture one day of it, a guitar that looked a lot like it, but by now it would have 30 years. Who knows? Somebody may have painted it immediately, You just don't know. And it wasn't a pre-CBS Stratocaster. It was like I think a 74. If I look up the serial number, it wasn't as old as I thought it was. Because ultimately I paid $400 for it, which sounds like nothing, but back then, in 83, 84, it was, to me, that was all I had. Well, I didn't even have it. I had to borrow the money. And the thing was, the kid was selling not just that guitar, but also a 4-track reel-to-reel. So I bought both of those for $800. So in my head, I'm thinking $400 for one, $400 for the other. But so I could have paid $1 for the reel-to-reel and $7.99 for the guitar. I don't know, or the other way around.
Yeah.
But in my head, I just split it down the middle and just say I paid $400 for this guitar. And I borrowed money from my stepdad to do it, and I have to say, my stepdad, although he never understood, he was a businessman. He was in insurance. He created a business that did pensions plans for small businesses and stuff. So, he was a businessman. He didn't really understand the music thing. He didn't,
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he passed away before he ever saw any success in my career. But for not understanding and to be honest, completely tone deaf, he hated it when my mom would take him to church. And I remember going to church on Christmas Eve, and he would sing really loud and really out of tune just to kind of rub it in. And we went to this big Presbyterian church in Indianapolis that the mayor, Hudnut of Indianapolis, was the minister of before he was a politician.
Oh.
So he was a minister of this church. Everybody knew who he was. And then he went into politics. But I remember people turning around and like, oh my gosh, please stop singing, because it was awful. So he was tone deaf. He didn't understand the music, and yet the first time I ever bought a real amp, he went with me to buy it. He didn't want me to go alone because I was bringing cash,
Oh, okay.
He and my mom came to all my shows that were local. You know, anytime I played a local show, which wasn't very often because the band I was playing in at the time was a cover band, and we were doing mostly high school dances and frat parties. So we were traveling all around. In fact, we played at Hanover College. That was a fun gig. I talked about that one time. That was the one where it was actually a makeup gig for the gig we were supposed to do on a riverboat, but our truck broke down. So our gear never got to the riverboat in Louisville, because Louisville's about 3.5 hours from Indianapolis. So I drive down with the band, and we're waiting for the truck to show up, and it never shows up.
Oh.
And there's no cell phones. I've told this.
Oh,
yeah, no cell phones. We're just sitting there waiting. How do we find, And finally somebody goes we're in a bar, and they go to and I'm not 21. And somebody goes can we use your phone? And they call like somebody back home. Oh yeah, no, the truck broke down. And apparently we saw the DJ showing up to do the show. Our manager had hired a DJ to replace us. And so we did a gig, and that was for Hanover College. It was like a frat party for Hanover. And so we did a makeup gig we go to Hanover, and we're supposed to do this big outdoor gig, and it's pouring. So they move the outdoor gig into the cafeteria, and the kids at the college turned the cafeteria into the outdoors.
Oh.
They took chairs, stacked them on the walls. They put like black plastic against the chairs, and then punched tree branches into it. So it was like a forest. They built a waterfall.
I remember that part of the story.
Yeah, you remember the waterfall part?
Yeah.
Yeah. They built a waterfall in a river going through. They took plastic and they put it over rocks, and then they put the rocks on top, and then they had water going down. And so the kids had an outdoor concert when we did our show. We did our thing. And the funny thing is, at the time, Mike Pence was going to Hanover, and so was Woody Harrelson.
Wow.
They were both friends at Hanover College. Right there at that year I was there, so they were probably at that dance. I would never have known because I wouldn't have been talking to the kids, but that was pretty funny. It's because Woody, I love Woody. He always makes fun of Indiana on Cheers, know. And some of the best lines are him talking about. Is it Hanover? He actually talks by name. He was like, oh yeah, in Hanover. And everybody's like, oh, we got to go to this Hanover place. It's like they're all possessed by like aliens or something. So it's pretty fun. It's one of my favorite bits. So, so it was a good stepdad. He was like, he believed in me even though he didn't understand what he was believing in. Does that make sense? And so so that was that guitar though. That was so sad to have that, brutal. And I mean, I bought a guitar to replace it for a couple $100. It was awful. Actually loaned it to a student and never got that one back. I don't know why I loaned it to a student. It was a student that would come twice a month and take a 2-hour lesson because he lived in San Bernardino. And he was so far away that, and I said, oh, his son wanted to start taking guitar, playing guitar too. I said, hey, why don't you borrow this guitar? And I loaned him this guitar. It was a Frankenstrat, basically. It was a no-name headstock. It was a piece together. It was noisy, It was very heavy. The body on it was really heavy. So I never used it for anything. So the fact that I never saw it again wasn't a big...
Yeah.
But it was the crappy guitar that I bought. And I remember that I bought it from a guitar store in Burbank that was in a house. And the store was at the time called Guitar. Like New York it was called Guitar. And then they ended up having a store on Ventura Boulevard. They opened up a real store.
Wow.
But at the time it was a guitar store in somebody's house in Burbank, which is kind of weird. But yeah, so that's the story of the Stratocaster, which I still have the neck plate on. So Bruce is trying to moderate here. You can see, and it's hard to moderate on a phone, isn't it? Yeah. See, smoking didn't kill Willie. I guess that's why he wrote a song, Everything's Gonna Be, Going to Pot about the effects of his life. Oh, Woody Harrelson. Oh no! Oh, Woody Harrelson, another pop man who hangs with Willie. Oh, interesting. Oh, who's the Willie? Oh, sorry, I missed that. So Joseph, about Willie, 90 years old. Interesting. Well, I'm hanging with Bruce, but he's not 90.
Not quite. Hopefully. I'll reach 90.
Yeah, I think you're gonna do. I think you'll make it. I mean, the odds of you hitting 90 if you've already hit 60 is pretty good in America anyway. So, let's see, and we're gonna get lunch too. I think we're gonna go get Mexican food. Does that sound good?
I'm not big on Mexican
All right.
food.
Well, what do you feel like? You like now? Do you like? See, we got weird stuff here. So,
Oh, I'm sure.
do you like ramen, or have you ever had ramen before? Noodles, basically, just like soup with noodles and stuff like that. Or well, we could go to. Is Joe's open? I think Joe's is open. We could go to Joe's. You might like Joe's. They got everything on that menu.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I just have to hit the road no later than 2.
no, we won't. Yeah, it won't be that.
So it takes me 6 hours to get up to. San
Yeah, you
Francisco.
want to be there as close to daylight as possible. I think, what time's the sun going to go down up there? Do you know?
I checked and I can't remember now. Let's see. It's probably since I'm in Florida, I don't have a sense anymore.
Right,
when the sun goes down, but
Yeah, because it's
let's see. Oh,
Well, I can tell you.
when I was up to Syracuse, New York, a couple of weeks ago to visit my cousins. I was surprised I got there about 6 or 6:30, and it was still light. So
Well, it's sunset here at 6 o'clock.
okay.
6:02 today, but
Well, Google Maps says 6 hours from here to San Francisco, so it'll probably be dark by the time. But I'm just going right to the airport.
right. Oh, okay.
He's going to pick me up at the airport. I'm going to drop the rental there.
Oh, perfect.
So,
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
that'll work.
Okay, that's
it's not
great.
like I got to find his house.
I mean,
in
you
the
would have
dark.
flown directly to San Francisco, but you wanted to see me.
Yeah,
See?
yeah. I took a little
I'm honored to say the
side
least.
road to get to San Francisco here. So here I am in,
Yeah.
in
So-
the hills.
I am not wanting to drive at night years old.
Yeah.
That's how old I am. I'm like, I don't like driving at night, but I do it. It's not a big deal. I just like, it's just, the lights get blurry and,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I talked to my eye doctor about it, and he tried to adjust that in my prescription. It didn't really help. So I still drive at night, but it's just, you know how that is. It's the worst is driving at night in the rain somewhere you don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's like, but that's true when you're 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I remember probably one of the worst times, the scariest driving experiences. I was driving, and now on top of that, I wasn't driving my car.
Oh, that makes it even worse.
That even makes it worse.
That's why I had trouble finding your house this morning, because I was using the navigator on my phone, and I almost never use that. So the instructions I was getting weren't getting to me in time to make the turns through the traffic, especially up here getting off the I-5.
He was late, and he was driving back and forth in front of my house. I had no idea that was him.
I passed your house at least 3 times.
Well, and it's partially my fault because today is trash day, and I forgot last night to put the trash out.
Oh.
And so they'd already picked up the blue bin, so I couldn't put my blue bin out. So I'm thinking, oh, Bruce is going to show up right when I'm taking the trash cans out. And I put the trash can in front of my street address.
Oh.
I wasn't thinking that you might need to see that. You know?
Yeah. That's
So-
what's giving me a problem. I'm looking and
Yeah, it's
seeing the
not
house
there.
number.
Yeah. And I don't have numbers on my house. I was gonna do that, and it's like the house is stucco, and I'm like, okay, how do I? I'm just gonna nail these in. Will they stay up, or will they just crumble in and fall? I'm like, I won't put numbers on my house. It's fine. People.
You're required to in Florida.
Are you really?
Yeah. 4-inch numbers on the front of the house where the emergency folks could see them.
Ah, well, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I just won't have an emergency. This is a story I told though too. When we bought this house, we put an offer on Valentine's Day. They took our offer, put our offer on the 13th, and on Valentine's Day they took it. So I gave my wife a house for Valentine's Day.
Nice.
Pretty good. I haven't been able to up that since, but and so just like a couple days later, we set up a bunch of inspections. Like we set up all the inspectors to come at the same time, right? And I show up, and there's 5 police cruisers and an ambulance in front of the house. And I'm like, okay, what's happening here? Well, the son of the owners of this house was a heroin addict. and his girlfriend, they thought she overdosed in the car. She sleeping in the car in the driveway, and they thought she OD'd, and they called the paramedics, and of course everybody showed up. And I found out later from my neighbors that the police were already staking out this house. There was a cop usually parked up the street and one down the street because they were selling drugs here too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they're selling heroin here, and had no idea. But there were some pretty unsavory people hanging around when we bought this house.
That's what she sounds
And
like.
it was like, should we buy it? But immediately after they left, everybody left. Although the first day we were in the house, I look out the window and there's someone reaching into my mailbox.
Oh, God.
And it was someone, I was like, okay, she looks like she's on heroin. And I go out, can I help you? And she's like, oh, I'm friends with Ryan and we're expecting a check. I said, you're expecting a check? She goes, yes. I said, okay, well, give me your phone number. If I get a check today, I'll let you know or whatever. And then I met the mailman, or the mailwoman actually, but she's a member of mankind, so I'm fine with mailman. The mailman's fine with that too. She goes, I don't care. Mail person, yeah. And she said, oh yeah, I ran into them, I know them, and I gave them the check. Like they found me before she got. They must have really needed this check. And then there was a. What's the engine block? There was an engine block in the garage, and it weighed a ton.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want an engine block in my garage. And this guy shows up like a couple days later and goes, hey, I left my engine block in your garage. Is it okay? I said, you can have it. I said, here, take this and this. There was a bunch of crap in there. I said, you can have any of this.
Now.
Yeah, I said, it's you can melt down something like that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it's scrap metal value because it's a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight. Yeah.
That's usually what they pay by is weight.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't know if he was going to melt it down or if he was legit making, working on a car with it or whatever, but I didn't care. I just wanted to get it out of the house. But fortunately, we haven't. New York, the entire state requires 4-inch numbers too, Wendy says.
They make good boat anchors too.
Oh, Joseph, there was. No, I ran across two. I didn't get to the point where I was wearing gloves when I was cleaning the house, but in the garage, there's a bunch of those storage things, and there's about 3 inches or 2-inch clearance underneath them in case the garage gets wet, which is smart. And under there, I found a heroin needle. All right. There was a black or brown stain on this roof in here. I think I cleaned it off, but it looked like a splatter, like a black little or brown splatter or something. And I thought maybe that was like they were, clearing the air out of a needle and it went psh, like that. I don't know. That was my imagination running wild. But then we went to move the fan that was in here into the bedroom, our master bedroom, or not master, but our bedroom. So there's a fan in our bedroom.
Okay.
But there was a light fixture in there, and in the light fixture was a heroin needle.
Oh,
you know how they'll put it.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those glass bowl light fixtures. And that was the room that they were using for the little girl, like the 7-year-old girl. So they hid heroin in. I mean, it's like unbelievable. So don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, for sure.
We were just talking about that. Neither one of us have ever smoked weed. I've had a contact high more than once. I know. One of the bands, that band I played in, the one that played at Hanover, the one that didn't play at the Riverboat, I would take the guys and they would smoke weed in the car with me. And we'd be coming home at like 3 a.m. or something like that. And the band was about half white, half black. So it was like we were doing Earth, Wind, and Fire tunes and Commodores tunes and stuff like that. And the black guys were riding with me, right? And I'm driving my mom's station wagon, beat up old station wagon, and that was my car. And we're coming back from Bloomington, Indiana, after playing for an Indiana IU frat party. And they're smoking weed, and I'm driving up I forget what road I'm on, but it's a freeway-ish. Like every now and then there would be a stoplight.
Okay.
And we're driving by Martinsville. And Gooch in the back seat, he said, "You better slow down because Martinsville, Ku Klux Klan headquarters." And if they pull us over, they're going to lynch you with us. So I was going like 100 miles an hour. And the reason I was going so fast is because I was like, there was like a little mist, and it was there was no one on the road. We're trying to get home, and it's just like, and there was this little mist, and it was going over the hood of my car, and it just looked really cool, And I realized then that I was probably a little bit high. Because
secondhand smoke.
Yeah, because they're sitting in the back and they're just handing this doobie back and forth. Doobie, that's how how old I am when I use the term doobie. They don't say doobie anymore. Doobie Brothers. That's where they got their name
Brothers.
from. Yeah.
Some of us were there.
Yep. Yeah. I have a friend that plays with the Doobie Brothers. As a suggestion, In-N-Out meal for Bruce. Oh, double with cheese, maybe. You like burgers, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we could do In-N-Out. Have you ever been to In-N-Out?
No, I've heard of it, but I've never been there.
All right. Yeah, Pepper, that's a great idea.
None of those on the East Coast that I'm aware of.
No, it's privately owned. In fact, that's a fascinating story too. You can read about the woman that owns it now. She's like the illegitimate daughter of one of the founders' sons. Wow. So the founders had 2 sons, and one went astray. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the guy that lived here and got addicted to drugs and all this stuff. Yeah. The other one went to school, got business degree, boom, boom, was very smart that he was going to inherit
business.
This $1 billion business of In-N-Out Burger.
Wow.
And the parents died. Before the parents died, the son, I want to say the good son, I'm not making a moral judgment here, but for the sake of the story, the good son died in a plane crash. He was flying a plane or something, he had money, and he's learning how to fly or whatever. I don't know if he was a pilot or a passenger, but he died. So their estranged son then also died of drug overdose, and they didn't have a heir but they found out that the estranged son had a daughter illegitimately, I think.
Oh, okay.
And that's who basically ended up getting this multi-billion-dollar business.
Wow.
But there were all these conditions on it because it was like a trust.
Yeah.
And I forget. I think she's been married like 4 times or something. She's got a pretty sad story, but she's a Christian now, and her life's totally no. And the owners were Christians because in the cup it'll say it has like John 3:16 written on the inside of the cup and everything, So and then there's I think Proverbs 3:5 is also on the cups, on the French fries or something. Yeah, it's really fun. So and it's always a line, but very reasonably priced, very fresh, and the kids that work there love working there. They just love working at In-N-Out. I mean, they just I don't know what it is. It's all like these high school kids, and they just love it. It's like if you ever saw the movie. Was it John Hughes? No, the Valley Girl maybe, but Valley Girl was one of those movies. There were several Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It was like the movie theater job. It's like the fun job there.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of that was filmed right around my neighborhood. So, the Blue Law, where the bands play, Spike the Punch with the LSD. Oh my gosh. That's just insane. Yeah, it's horrible. Now they have this. Who was it? The nurse, I think at my wife's school. She was at home and her nephew had bought some drugs off of Snapchat or not Snap. Is it Snapchat? What's the app they buy? And the kids that buy drugs, they can. It's like horrible, and it was laced with fentanyl, and he died. Whoever sold the drugs, of course, is completely anonymous, so you can't figure out who it was. It was laced with fentanyl, and she didn't have Narcan.
Oh, okay.
No, Narcan, yeah.
Narcan.
She's like, and they have Narcan at the school, of course. But yeah, that's tragic. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, the Lord is mostly only interested in sinners. That's right. Yeah, it's funny. I feel like there's a lot of Christians in the music business because, there are no atheists in foxholes, and the music business is very much you're in a foxhole. You don't think you're going to have enough money for this month and that next month and next month or whatever, and so there's a lot of musicians get paid to play at churches. So I feel like it's a very common outcome. Let's see. Holly grew up in Seattle, where Dick's Drive-In is similar. Yeah. The scholarships I think is a big thing for In and Out. So it's interesting. I think it sounds great acoustically.
Really?
It actually sounds perfect acoustically. Sounds very, choked.
Okay.
Like if it was too open.
Yeah, well, that's the vibe that they created.
You also included another bridge that I noticed in the box.
Yeah.
It was a wider bridge, right?
That was the bridge I initially ordered, and I said, no.
Okay.
But I wanted it just for the size too, to get an idea of just how big the bridge, how high the bridge should be. But there's a number of well-known musicians that started out on a cigar box guitar. Bo Diddley, for one.
Right. Well, it makes complete sense because it's actually kind of easy. It's not one I mentioned, but I did a video a while back because somebody commented on my 7 tips for older beginners. They said,
okay.
"What if my hands are small?" And I went, and it's funny because the screen grab, I don't want to get too close to the camera or it'll focus on my hand. But the screen grab on it has my big giant hand. Yeah.
See, my hand is smaller than Tom's.
You're taller than me, though.
Yeah, but his fingers are much longer than mine.
Yeah, so I think that, but there's a guitar player here in LA that does a ton of work that I wish I'm not jealous of him, but he does a lot of movie work.
Oh, okay.
And he's short and he's got little hands and he has no problem navigating that guitar. But I started out by doing some research on what guitar players have small hands. I didn't realize Angus Young had small hands.
Okay.
Andy Summers from the Police has small hands, and there was somebody else. And so I started out the video. I said, I know I've got big hands, but just be encouraged. These guitar players have small hands, so you don't have to be, you can still play guitar with small hands. But then I did say, look, the reason most people want to play guitar because they want to make music. It's not necessarily specifically guitar.
Paul Simon said, I watched a series of YouTubes that were done with him, interviews, and he said he started because he wanted to meet girls.
Right.
So.
Well, okay, guilty. I met my wife playing music. That's how we met. We were doing music together. So, but we had a band together.
I remember you telling us that.
We had a band, so we did 3 records. And they never made money. None of it. That's why we stopped making records. But it's so in the video I talk about, look, if you've got small, bass, you only need to hit it in 1 string. The bass, the frets are big and the neck's longer, but you only have to worry about 1 string. So if you want, you could technically play bass with 1 finger. Banjo is easier. Mandolin is great for small hands. I have a hard time playing mandolin because the frets are so small and the neck is so narrow.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't mention cigar box guitar, but it would be a perfect one to mention.
Yeah.
The other thing I said, you could become a great slide player. I always thought if I started to develop symptoms of arthritis, I might start working on my slide playing.
Yeah. I set this up specifically with a slightly higher action because you and I talked about it. And you said, I'm going to be playing a lot of slide on this. Yeah. So I set it up with a slightly higher action.
Because a lot of cigar box players play with slide.
Yeah.
And it's right now, I don't even know what the low notes are. I've got it tuned pretty low right now, but I have it root, 5th root. So D, yeah, so it's D. I got lucky.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. see. Let me plug it in. Should I plug it in? Want to hear what the pickup sounds like? I haven't heard pickup. It could be a little noisy, so I'm gonna. So there's a jack here. I'll try not to hit Bruce in the head with the headstock there. Let's see what we get. Make sure all the wires are working. Let's see. So I'm not sure if I've got this hooked up right. Regardless, it sounds really good acoustically. So,
You get any sort of crackle when you plug in there?
no, but we'll figure it out.
You should. Turn the volume up, maybe a bit.
Yeah, it's working. Oh well, that could be. I have pads on too.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, the output on that pickup is not really
Right.
high. It's not what you'd call a hot pickup.
Well, we'll work on it later. We'll make that we'll work on that later. But yeah, so, like I said, I like the sound of it acoustically. And you put these sound holes in.
Yeah.
So how did you drill the holes in the top? You just had a
Just a big drill.
bit. How is that a 1-inch bit there, or was that bigger than?
Yeah, it's basically a 1-inch bit.
Okay. And I mean, you put wood trim around this.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah, because
Okay.
you always have a little bit of gap.
Yeah.
Unless you. And the thing that was hard about this cigar box is that the hinge here is fixed. You can't take the top off. Without literally breaking the box. So
Right.
every time I tried to work on the box, I had the cover flopping around and trying not to break it off and so
Right,
forth
right.
and so on. So it was hard to, and this wood is extremely hard. I don't know what that is, but it was extremely hard.
Yeah, it's and it's not really heavy. It's just, but I can tell it's hard. And there's a little where the hinge is.
Yeah.
There's a gap here too. So actually, I have sound going up towards me, which is kind of clever.
Yeah, possibly. I hadn't thought of that, but
Yeah.
you may be right that gap there.
What's the guitar that has the sound hole on the top? The
Uh,
acoustic guitar.
shoot.
McPherson? Yeah, McPherson. Very
Ibanez-
expensive guitars.
Ibanez, I think, too, has the sound holes right up here in the corner on
Okay.
the upper top bow.
Interesting. Yeah, I know that McPherson does that too. So yeah. So and then the bridge is not glued down. So every time I change strings, I have to replace position. But basically what you're going to do when you position the bridge like this is you're going to hit the the harmonics.
Getting the chime tone.
You want those notes to be the same as fretted.
Not bad.
Pretty close.
Yeah. Considering we hadn't really worked on that this morning.
Yeah. So
Other than if you can see those two little pencil marks that I left on there, that'll get you very close right to start with.
right. And so if this note is sharp compared to the harmonic, then the bridge needs the distance from here to here needs to be longer.
Because the bass strings are heavier and the way they vibrate, you've got to lengthen the scale of the bass strings slightly. And if you look closely at reasonably priced acoustic guitars, or for that matter, an electric guitar, where they've got all the adjustable saddles, you can see how they've added to the scale length just a little bit, something in the range of 3/64ths of an inch.
Yeah.
It's not much, but it makes a difference in trying to get things in tune.
Yeah, I mean most saddles are mounted at. Well, let's see, that one's not. Classical may be different. But yeah, they're kind of mounted at a slight angle too. So.
Or I notice here in your class, that's an Asturias.
Yeah, that's the Asturias. Yeah.
You'll see that the saddle has been carved, literally in the top edge of the saddle. You'll see a shape carved into the top of the saddle where they've made that adjustment. I have a couple of acoustics that have that.
The way that's mounted, it's angled slightly this way.
That one's angled.
Yeah,
that one's carved.
Yeah. So what else? Let's see. You got any other questions? What is the reason for not gluing down the bridge? Because if you change the string gauge, then that can affect the intonation. Mandolins generally are not glued down. I also think the glue would impede some of the sound transfer from the strings to the top. In the case of a mandolin, I've never seen a mandolin bridge glued down.
Yeah. With this one, because the box is so heavy, and I was concerned about getting some kind of decent acoustic tone out of it. Everywhere I went, from the headstock down to the bridge, I tried to make sure that everything was as rigid and tight as possible, so that all the string energy gets transferred into the top of the box.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of the generally that's why those guitars don't have and jazz guitars too. Like if you look at a jazz archtop box,
archtop guitars.
They will not glue them down.
They have what I would call a floating bridge.
I think that's what it's
not
referred to.
necessarily a common term.
I think that's called floating bridge.
Some electric guitar bridges are called floating.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I don't know why exactly, because they're not floating.
No. Well, at the very least, they're pinned. There's a pin there. You may be able to lift the bridge off once you remove the strings.
Right.
But there's a pin that the bridge sits on that holds it rigidly in the right place for the scale.
Yep. So
love that G and L.
Oof. Yeah. That's a heavy guitar. So let's see what else we have.
The acoustic that you got from your uncle.
My cousin. It's put away right now, but
that's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a beautiful guitar. The somebody asked how it's tuned. Right, basically you're going to tune this in kind of a power chord. Okay, so it's right now this one's tuned D A D. No, I don't have my piano enabled. There we go. Okay, and that means everywhere you play. If I was. That's my brain. There we go. Close up. But basically, that's why it's commonly used for like blues and things like that. Yeah. So it's just like this. And that so it's actually really easy to play. So that's why I was like, oh, I should have thought of cigar box guitars for whatchamacallit, for my tips for people with small hands.
Small hands.
I picked up this a while back on Shop Goodwill. It's about as lo-fi a version of what Bruce made.
Oh.
So this has one string.
This is a cookie box guitar.
Yeah, one string. I'm not even sure what purpose except as a counterweight to the neck. It doesn't even have any. I mean, that's actually quite a bit of volume. When you think about it.
Yeah, but it's metal and it resonates. But wood doesn't, pick up the energy like metal does. So yeah, a metal cookie box guitar is going to have some great acoustic tone.
Yep. But you can only play like major scales on because it's tuned like a dulcimer, or it's fretted like a dulcimer.
Yeah.
So I've got a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step.
Right.
Well, dominant seventh.
Okay. Yeah.
So I guess that's one for blues. So yeah, I got this for $5.
All right, a bargain.
Bargain, yeah. So I actually, when I put the string on, I put those washers in there.
Okay.
So that's where the resonance, I guess, is coming from.
Oh yeah, that's direct.
Yeah. So it's vibrating the box.
Yep.
Yeah, through the string on the, and then the tuner is just a. Look at the tuner.
Yeah, no, that's very much like the original model I built. It's basically just as original to the way they first came out. You use bolts for the bridge and the nut. You use threaded eyes for tuners, et cetera, because that's how they originally built.
Nothing.
Kids or whatever were building with whatever they had around the house.
Right. Yeah. Whatever, broken parts of stuff that they could find. So it kind of reminds me of the Like
Oh yeah.
the tumbie, which is just a little drum head on a gourd with a string mounted to it, and this is just felt. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh.
it just bounces all
Yeah.
around. So I can't really tune this in any. But that's a very unique sound.
Yeah.
I actually want to get a decent one of these but they're all going to be friction tuners. They've even put like plastic tape on this to kind of keep it tight inside the hole.
So
you know,
the hole too. Yeah.
and these aren't supposed to be frets. That's just decoration. So yeah, that's a Indian instrument, and then this one too. Same kind of concept of using the drum head as the resonator. That's a drum head. There's a string. You can't really see that. We've got to be careful. Yeah. Oh, there it is. It looks like a button. It's actually it is literally a plastic button.
Oh yeah. Right off his shirt.
Yeah.
So that's kind of in the banjo family with a.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say anything that resonates on a drum head is going to be in the banjo family. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's. So there's a lot of instruments you can play if you got small hands. You don't necessarily, but I think one of my comments that I got was that so okay, so I go to how to play guitar with small hands, and you tell me not to play guitar, and I go, yeah, that comment was made by the type of person where you said, hey, I like that shirt. And they would say, what's that supposed to mean? They take it all wrong. So what do we got here? We got a lunchbox steel guitar. That would actually be cool. Yeah, lunchbox, get like some of those old, like 60s, like Beatles lunchbox or Monkeys lunchbox or like your favorite cartoon, like the Jetsons or whatever. Yeah, that would be cute. You could totally do that. The way that one was mounted, it was clever. I feel like because like I showed you, the string is mounted to the box itself, so the box is providing some resonance. No, we were not. Our color coordination was not planned. No. Where's CB? Is CB's there? Oh yeah, Charlie. What's going on? So this is Bruce, by the way, the moderator, Bruce. Bruce Ringrose.
You can see my picture on Discord. I'm one of the few
that actually put your face up there.
Charlie is on there though, and Dennis.
Oh, Charlie's face is on there.
Yeah, Charlie.
I know what. Yeah, because I know what everybody looks like. I know what Holly looks like.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You also seen us on Zoom, but.
Well, yeah, but also I think Facebook too.
Oh, that's true.
I think Holly and I are friends on Facebook.
Oh. I don't do Facebook hardly at all, other than to kind of see what's going on with my family and friends and stuff.
Yeah, I don't do Facebook a lot either. So last week we were doing major, minor second. There's a major second. There's a minor second. We were doing major thirds, and we're doing minor thirds. All right. I thought, well, we're well into the lesson, but might as well work on our ear a little bit, okay? And the fourth, I always think of the wedding march. Okay? So if you hear, again, the way, a lot of times there's two ways to test your interval ear, and two ways to do interval ear training, or intervallic ear training, if you want to sound really impressive. And that would be to play them individually or to play them at the same time. And you should be able to hear them both ways, but it's easier to hear them when they're, I think, separated. So I think that's a tritone. So a perfect fourth, C to F is called a perfect fourth. It's not called a major fourth. They don't use the term major because the inversion of that is also, the inversion of the perfect fourth is a perfect fifth. So I didn't invent the system. Hard to necessarily explain it, but so a perfect fourth sounds like that. To me, it also sounds like a sus thing, like this. Right? You hear that? So you might hear that in there, like a kind of an unresolved thing. And then the fifth is a power chord. All right, you can think of that. You can think of the power chord thing. I think of I think of kind of a trumpet. I think that's from Wizard of Oz. But also I think you could think of it as a bugle call of sorts, because remember, a bugle can only play it. Can only play a major triad. So a lot of times you'll have a like with those, when you see those horns in movies where the king is coming out and it's just a horn with a flag hanging off it, there's no valves on it. They play those using the overtone series. So the harder they blow into it, or basically it moves. I don't know if you've ever taken a tube and spun it around, and the faster you spin it, the higher the tone goes. Well, that's the same thing. So it's an overtone series. And you can kind of keep going if you get high enough, fast enough, you can get it up there. But basically, I think bugles are... Anybody, we got any bugle players? I mean, generally there's 5 notes, I think. So I'm playing just a major triad with a 5th below. So that's why a lot of times when you hear those horns, you know, they're playing, they're limited. They're very limited to what they can play. So that's a very, to me, sounds majestic. Okay? So we have the 4th and we have the 5th. All right? So I'm going to test you a little bit. Can you guys hear can you hear that piano? Bruce, can you hear that?
Yep. I can hear it.
Thanks, Holly, for doing all the paperwork there. Okay, here we go. Tell me if this is a 5th or a 4th. Or you don't need to tell me because the lag is too slow.
4th.
Now, yeah, no, that's a 5th.
It's a 5th.
But see, here's the problem with the 4th and the 5th is they're inversions of each other.
Oh, that's right.
So, like, if I were to play the 5th below, so okay,
I listen for the tone intervals.
yeah. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the 5.
There you go.
And you can even hear that in your head if you want. I would do that. I would sing the scale, because so far well, that's not true. We've actually been doing minor seconds, minor thirds too, but today we're just doing 4ths and 5ths. That's a 4th. You might hear it again. Somebody gave another song for a 4th, and I can't remember what it was. And it was last week. I was playing 4th, and somebody said, "Oh, that's also this." And I'm like, "That's a good one to remember." But you could have a song
for Sam.
Yeah, it was probably Sam. Sam's not here. I haven't seen Sam. Has anybody seen Sam?
I haven't seen him yet.
Michigan won, right? Yeah. So he usually likes to come on and gloat.
Football first.
Yeah. So yeah. There's a 5th. Okay, so I'm going to change keys, and we'll see if we can hear a 4th and a 5th in different keys, okay? All right, let me, my brain, I got to get my brain going here. Okay. Hear that? Okay, that's a 4th.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, let me do another one. Here we go.
That's a 5th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a 5th is more majestic sounding to me.
Yeah.
also Gregorian. It sounds very Gregorian to me.
Okay, yeah.
Because a lot of times they wouldn't put it wouldn't make it a minor or major thing. They just make it a.
It's that big step that makes it sound like that.
Yep. Okay, let's see. I'll do another one here. Anybody have a song? So fourth is Wedding March. Anybody got a song besides? Oh no, Sam's here. Lurking. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing Grace is a major third, I think. Oh, that's what you were talking about. Okay, that was from last week. You're right. So it wasn't a fifth or fourth; it was a third that you were talking about. So yeah. So there's a fifth. All right. I'm gonna try to mesh up a little bit. Here we go. Okay. If I play that, you know. What's Jingle Bells? Jingle Bells is a minor. It's a minor third. Okay. So another interval. And again, you can get an app that will do this, and you can just go through. It's cool because you get the you do the app and then you pass a test and then they give you the next test. And some of the apps are really slowly kind of grade you up, and they may start out playing intervals like that, and then they'll start doing. Then you'll get through all the intervals, and then they'll do, and then you have to separate them in your head, and then that's the next level. And then the next level might be they play a chord and you have to determine, is that a major or minor chord? Well, definitely sounds.
I don't hear the sad sound to the minor chord, but
It's because I'm not playing in root inversion, so I'm not playing the root on the bottom, but it is a D minor chord.
Okay.
And then if I went to.
There's a minor.
That's a minor chord, yeah.
That's a major.
Yep, same one. A minor to A major. Yep. Good. Let's see. If I went here. That sounds almost like a minor chord, but that's a major chord. Do 1, 2, 3. Sam, what's going on? Any experience with the Tom Quayle app solo? No, I've not heard of that. Also, I almost got scammed this week. It almost, well, no, to be honest, I say it almost worked. Yeah, and if you see some weird post or something from me on Google, no, I got hacked. But no, they didn't. It was very elaborate. It was very targeted, which is a little disturbing because I feel like it was really targeted at me by someone who maybe knew. I mean, I guess I'm a public figure, because I've got 100,000 subscribers. I've got, I play with a lot of people. People know me, and so
You've got a lot of stuff on your website.
Yeah, I've got a lot of credits. So I'm out there. And I get that. But I got a text to my phone from an email address, and it was fam@wolfxrothstein. And it said, fam, F-A-M, and it said, is this Tom Strahle? Okay, so you have my phone number, and you have my correct name, correct spelling. And I said, yes, who is this? And he said, I'm Fam, and I represent Childish Gambino. And I don't know if you know who Childish Gambino is, but he's an artist. It's actually Donald Glover, the actor, who I think is Danny Glover's son, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I think it's Danny Glover's son. So, but Donald Glover, the actor, has and so it's not unusual to be contacted by pop artists or R&B artists or hip hop artists necessarily. That wouldn't be unusual for someone in my position. And said, yeah, we have a couple songs that we'd like you to kind of produce. And I'm like, well, that's weird because I'm not really known as a producer. They go, I said, and then I didn't reply because I did some research. And I went to wolfxrothstein.com, didn't exist. It was Wolf and Rothstein, and that was the management company for Childish Gambino. And then I did more research, and I found out that this guy named Fam Odiglio or Umbiglio or something, kind of a Nigerian name, was his music supervisor on all of his TV shows. So he's definitely connected with this Fam person. And so I went to the the Wolf and Rothstein Instagram page, and I messaged them and said, "Hey, are you trying to reach out to me?" They never replied.
Yeah.
And the thing, I knew that this company was legit. They had about 13,000 followers, and Ludwig Göransson, I think is his name, Ludwig, the composer Ludwig, follows them, and I follow him, and he's a legit, like he produced Childish Gambino.
Oh.
Okay, so he produced Childish Gambino. He's also did the score for Black Panther. So he's a major film composer. He won an Oscar for Black Panther. So, so I'm like, okay, so maybe, sometimes websites, like emails, the email servers will have a different website domain from the original, so it won't be Wolf and Rothstein. But I was still hesitant. So I was like, well, yeah, I'd be interested. I texted back. I said, I just don't know, where did you meet? How do you know me? And what are you asking me to do? Because I run in so many different circles. Are you asking me to write pop, chords, or are you asking me to do sound effects, or what? And they said, oh, we heard about you. I heard about you through one of the A&Rs I represent. Well, A&R stands for artist and repertoire.
Yeah, okay.
Artist and repertoire. So the record companies have A&R departments, and they're called A&R people, and so I'm like, well, I don't really know any A&R people. Mm-hmm. So maybe A&R people know me, but it was really weird. And so then I thought, well, okay, where are you located? Let's have coffee. And he said, that's great. I'm in Los Angeles. Where are you? I said, I'm in Los Angeles too. I'll come to you or whatever. Let's get coffee. He goes, how's Wednesday? I said, Wednesday's great. And he said, in the meantime, check out these tracks that we want you to work on. Like, I'm telling you, it's very specific about what I do. It's kind of the kind of work I do every day, right?
Well, they were able to, look at your website and get a...
Or know the business. They know the business, how the business is done.
Because profile on you that they could act like.
And I texted my people at Justin's camp, and they didn't know who this person. So nobody knew who this person was, but that doesn't mean anything. It's like Justin's camp is very small, and they wouldn't necessarily know Childish Gambino's camp. So I'm kind of like, okay. And I asked a couple other people I knew in the business. I said, you don't happen to know X, this person, and I also emailed the company and got no reply from the Instagram message or the email. So I'm clearly suspicious this entire time. But the text came and he said, oh, well, I have some files that I want you to look at on a Google Drive. So I said, oh, and this is the other thing that was really, really weird, was right off the bat, hey, good karma. No worries. Right off the bat, they said, like the third text, they said, yeah, just send us invoice information for payment. So now they're playing to my greedy side, like, oh, well, it's a paying gig, or whatever. And I'm kind of like still at the point where I'm like, I don't even know what I'm charging them for. And then a lot of times when you do payment, if anything's over $600, you got to fill out a W-9, which means you're sending them your Social Security number. So I'm kind of like, all right, let's let me keep doing some research on this. I get the he sends me the link to the Google Drive. All right. Well, I click on it on my phone, and it opens up a website, and I'm like, okay, no, let me delete this. Let me do this in here. So I come in my studio, because if I'm going to be working on files, I want to listen to them in my studio, not on my phone.
Yeah.
So I come here, I open up messages, I click on the link, it opens up Google, and it asks me to log in. And it says, Google Drive or something like that, and it looks like Google Drive, but it's asking me to log in, and I thought that was suspicious, because if I load Google right now on Safari, it would automatically already be logged in.
Yeah.
I don't log out every time I go off of Google. So maybe I should. But no, actually that saved me, because then I looked closer at it. It didn't say Google, it said Google. Google. And I went, and I brought my son was here, and I said, look, check this out. And I'm certainly not, I didn't even put my username in. I didn't get that far, and it didn't autofill it. See, if I log out of Google, if I'm on Safari in my studio, I have keychain activated, so that it'll automatically log me in.
I don't use that stuff.
Yeah,
automatic login is dangerous.
Yeah. It is dangerous. Someone comes in my studio. And the thing is, most of my contacts are not through Google. So I don't use my Google account for anything. But they could change the payment info on my YouTube. So all that money that I make from YouTube would go to them instead of to me.
Exactly.
So I immediately yesterday changed my login anyway. I changed my password, and it's very complex. And so yeah, it's and if I log out, then I would have to log back in. So it wouldn't automatically log me in, but it would autofill.
That's what you should avoid, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So so that was it was crazy. Yeah, it was a phishing scam, but it was very specific. And I guess, but I've been in this business so long, I'm very suspicious. This business, there's a lot of people that just want to use you. They want to, they want you to have some buy-in on something that you're not getting paid for. And it's like, hey, my dream is to make a living. Your dream is to be a famous artist. And my dream is to get paid to be a guitar player. But so me working for free to facilitate your dream doesn't make any sense. You got to pay me to have your dream.
Yeah.
You don't just get people to give you your dream. I had to work my ass off to get my dream. So, why should I give you your dream for free?
Right.
That makes no sense. Oh, well, you'll be on the record, and I'll be famous and all this. I've fallen for that. So I'm gullible enough that I've fallen for that many times, but not probably in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, nope, you want my services, you got to pay for them. It's like, Absolutely. But the credit. I'm like, yeah, but I can't pay my mortgage with an album credit.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way, I go to the bank and I look at this album credit, and they're like,
I want a loan.
Yeah, they'll be like, okay, thanks.
Collateral.
Yeah.
Credits.
Yeah, this will pay my credit card, right? What are you talking about? They just laugh at me. So
Robin's got a good question, about 8 or 10 comments up now. Ascending intervals.
Yeah. So Gary makes a great point. Shouldn't you be incorporated and have a corporate ID so you don't use Social Security number? Yeah, most of the people. I'm not going to buy any bridges. Well, I have two-factor authorization turned on. Yes. So that does help. I have to log into Gmail on my phone or into YouTube on my phone usually. Anything that's real, and I do not have. I have my password for my banking memorized, and my username is not my username that I use on anything else. So I keep that much more difficult to hack. I don't even think Beth knows. If I die, she'll have a problem. But I'll be dead, so that's her problem. But anyway, the incorporated thing. Every year I think, should I incorporate? And my accountant, because when you incorporate, you have to. It's what is that? C corp or an S corp, and it's like an $800 annual fee. and then what you do is you pay yourself a salary, whatever that is, and then you pay taxes on that. And so it's a little bit, yeah, I mean, I could do that, but I don't really have a problem giving my social security number to my church. Most of the clients I work with, all the clients I work with, fine. I'm shocked that I'll have clients that pay me $10,000, $20,000 and they won't 1099 me. They don't even have my social security. They don't care.
Wow.
It's like, I don't know how they do that, you know. Unless they're paying from a corporation, they just write it off as miscellaneous expenses.
I don't know if there's an IRS requirement on something like that, or
I declare
you're
it.
receiving the income. Yeah.
Yeah, I declare every
responsibility to
penny.
declare it, Yeah.
Yeah, to a fault, I declare every penny. Literally every penny. When I was playing classical guitar at a restaurant for food, basically working for food, I've got a, what is that? Oh, that's the corner. I thought it was a speck on my screen.
Squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel. When I was playing at this restaurant in Pasadena, I was playing classical guitar, and they would give me a free lunch, and I was doing it basically to get experience playing solo guitar in front of people, so I'd be less nervous. And then I had a tip jar out, and I mean, I think the most I ever made was $20. It was right by the city courthouse, and so it was all attorneys going in there, and they're just cheap. They just don't tip. Attorneys are the worst.
Yeah.
And so
I worked with attorneys a lot during my career.
yeah, and they just wouldn't tip. And so I would literally come out of that. I'd be playing for an hour and a half, and I'd walk out of there with $3.27. You know, people would put pennies in. It's like, really?
Yeah.
You know, so I kept the book because my goal was to grow my income. I remember going, okay, I just want to make an average $100 a day, right? You know, and so if I could just average $100 a day, then, you know, once I hit that, okay, now I want to get to $200 a day. You know, so I was always adding the pennies in to try to get to that level where I was like, felt like I was actually making a career.
Yeah.
And now I make $1 billion a day, so
Right,
I don't
at
really
least.
at least, so I don't have to count the pennies anymore. No, but yeah, so when I would fill out my taxes, I would add up all that money, and that would be in there, and so yeah, I paid, you know. And the frustrating thing about being a musician and IRS, if they do audit you, they assume you're lying about your income, and they'll add 20% to your income.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Or guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
That's how the IRS works.
yeah, and so I'm like, no, I don't get any cash. Nobody pays me cash anymore.
Yeah.
And Venmo and PayPal and all that stuff goes to the banking system. So of course I'm going to declare that because there's a public record of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I'm not stupid, and I actually know a guy where I knew. So I was telling you about the driving my bandmates. One of their in Indiana. When we would drive out to was it Terre Haute, Indiana, which is on the basically almost Illinois. It's
Yep.
on the very
Right on the
western.
border.
Yeah, right on the border. And there was a club there called. What was it called? I can't remember what it was called now, but we played there a few times, and there's a prison on the way. In fact, it was the prison that Mike Tyson was in.
Oh.
Because when he got accused of rape, he went to this prison. So my bandmate said, "Oh yeah, they have a drummer friend that was in there, and because he never declared income.
Ouch.
He got paid in cash for everything and never declared income, and he went to prison for it." And I'm like, yeah, I mean they may go, oh no, you can't write that off, or no, you can't take that much square footage or whatever, you know. But they won't throw you in jail for that. They'll just say, here's what you owe plus penalties.
Yeah.
But if they catch you not declaring income,
That's crime.
that's serious. That's
Probably
time.
a felony.
Yeah, it's a felony. So yeah, that would be no fun. And they seize your accounts and it's all. Oh, I mean, regardless if they really think you're guilty of something, they're gonna shut down your accounts, and that's got to be really frustrating. You had your credit card hacked by Russian mafia while I was in India. Oh dang! I had to give my ID when I made a purchase in a hotel store, and the Ohio's driver's license used to have the Social Security number on it. Oh, that stinks. Yeah, that's not good, is it? And it has your birthday on it too, which is pretty much the two things they need.
I had a credit card hacked. This is quite a few years ago. I think it was, I forget the bank. Somebody in India. They charged whole bunch of rupees.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, like 9,000 rupees or something. My wife called immediately and killed it. So
Right.
we didn't lose any money. But
No, the banks are good about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How on earth did they get that?
Yeah, I had that happen. I had it more than once.
Yeah.
I went to a like a gas station convenience store, but it wasn't like a Chevron one. It was like American Oil or some company that is like a one-off kind of thing, or a small chain. And it was a hot day and I was thirsty, so I went to get a bottle of water, right? So I grabbed a bottle of water and I didn't have cash, and I gave the lady my credit card. And she goes, oops, and she said she dropped my card.
That's a big tell, I've learned.
And she had a scanner down low.
Yeah.
And when she picked it up, she scanned it, and she had me enter I didn't have to enter anything, I just had to prove, right, the purchase. Yeah. Well, I start getting like a million emails. Oh, you just purchased a $50 Starbucks card. Oh, you purchased a $50 like I got 10 of these $50 Starbucks cards notifications. I'm like, uh-oh. And I immediately called the bank and said, no, this is not me, and that card was being used by me, Beth, Emma at college, and Jack at college. So it was a real pain because I had to get new cards sent to all of them.
Oh.
And so they couldn't use credit cards until they couldn't buy stuff, until we could get that card fixed. So I only have 2 cards.
I have 2, but I only use one on online purchases.
Yep, that's exactly what I do.
One is in store, groceries, whatever.
Yeah.
The other one is only for online. Anything I'm doing online, buying a book from Amazon or whatever, I use a separate card. So at least it's easier to keep track of what's going on.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. So I tend to keep one card because what was happening was I was using the same card for all of those purchases. Wow. They bought FIFA currency for 300 euros with her money. Dang, that's crazy. Apple Pay is good. Doesn't use your credit card for transactions. That's cool. The drag is when if you use the same credit card for everything and it gets hacked, then you have to go to the power company that you've got your card in and get the new card. You got to go to Amazon. Every time you log into something or you're getting emails saying your credit card's expired, you need to, oh, that's right, I forgot about them. Yep. So I have a card that's just for all of those purchases or for those things like the car insurance and all that stuff. That's the automatic payments, the power and all that stuff. One card for that, and then one card that I use on stuff. I still use my daily card for online purchases, but just not Amazon. Yeah. Amazon, that way it's already logged in or whatever. But they're just people. It's like I think if they spent that time in a legitimate pursuit, they'd all be millionaires.
Probably.
Yeah. The thing they're striving for, they're not getting.
That ambitious. So.
Yeah, they're smart and ambitious, and it's like, especially this person that tried to scam me. And again, if they had gotten my Google, so they would have gotten access to all my Google Docs. They would have. I guess I have contacts on Google, but not intentionally. But like I have a Google Doc that I make available to composers. Okay. So I put their email addresses in there. So they might have all gotten emails from me. Yeah. So it was a little bit. Yeah. So I changed the password on that. I have 2-factor verification set up. But if you see somebody weird live streaming that's not me, then that would be a pain. I'd have Google might have my back. I actually have a friend at Google that could probably help me out. That is kind of in that area, so he might be able to help me out. But the 2 separate card thing is just that way. Because my cards got hacked several times. In fact, one time it got hacked when I went to In-N-Out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, then maybe we better not go there.
It was a long time ago, and
I'm going to be using my card.
It wasn't. Well, I'll pay.
No.
It wasn't. It was like this weird combination of 2 stores that Beth went to. And one of the 2, and In-N-Out was one of them, and there was a second one. I can't remember what it was. And so that's the thing I like about, like in Europe, when you go to dinner in Europe, They just bring the card reader to you, and you just
right
tap
there.
it.
You never see it disappear and come back and hope it doesn't have somebody's fingerprints all over it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that trend I love. And in Europe, the tips kind of they just add 10%, and it's like that's it. They don't want any more than that. And so you could leave €1 down if you want, but they don't.
Some ways we're not as smart as Europe is.
Oh, a lot of ways. Yeah. I saw a meme the other day where it had a picture of like a Rite Aid here in California where they had the mouthwash locked up, right? And then there's an Apple store in Barcelona where they just have the iPads out there, the boxes out there.
Wow.
For you, just grab it and you go buy it. In Barcelona, it's just laying out there. It's like,
wow.
We're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So I was just talking to a couple of cops last week, and they're really frustrated. At Starbucks, I was at Starbucks in line with them, and they were, we can't really. There's a lot of crimes we don't even enforce anymore because they're not going to prosecute them. It's like it's just not worth our time.
Yeah.
The person's going to be back out on the street.
Yeah.
And they know that, and it's like really. So that's what all the car break-ins. They don't even go after them.
Yeah.
The thing is about the store, the grab with all those kids go in there and grab a bunch of stuff. That's organized. So technically, they could get those on RICO, and it's the same 500 kids in LA. It's not like every kid in LA is doing this.
No.
It's a small group of people. If they just arrested them, put them in prison, it would end. But we're going to get to the point where you'll just have to order everything. My wife loves ordering everything on her phone for Walmart, and then she just goes to the back and they bring it out to her, put it in her car, and she drives off. And that's great. So it's super, super convenient for her. And you don't have to worry about finding someone to unlock the mouthwash.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what's going to happen is everybody, at least in California, I don't know, that's not going to necessarily happen everywhere else, but. Yeah, Oh, Robin, you're in Europe. Yeah, so if you pay for, now they're starting to bring the the credit card machines to the table here. But there's certain places I trust. Like I trust In-N-Out. Those kids are, it's not that would be bad. I had to, but I actually gave that gas station a 1-star review and warned people. I said, don't go here. Don't use your credit card here.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of thumbs up, like thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
Hopefully I put a dent in this lady's criminal activity.
Yeah.
I don't know what she got for scanning my card, but it's like.
She probably wasn't running it. She was just getting some sort of percentage cut, a few dollars. For
$20 for
somebody else was
making
all the money.
Yep. So. It would be cool if you could have you could work for undercover and have a fake card that would immediately the SWAT teams would show up if they did that, So, all right. Well,
scare a few people.
It's been almost 2 hours, believe it or not. Great having. So we didn't really do we didn't work on our ear very much. I can tell you now, Bruce, you're not going to be here next Monday, right?
I will be home.
Yeah, okay. So Bruce will be home next Monday.
I'll be home in my man cave on my desktop.
Okay, so he'll be moderating better because he's really doing a lousy job moderating today. But if you don't know, this is Bruce Ringrose, and he's one of my moderators, and he flew out here from Florida to see me.
Sure.
And and he brought me he's been building me this the cigar box guitar, and so it's very custom. It's the Tom Strahle model. You can see it's got Mount Shasta on the headstock there. You see that black bit? It's like the silhouette of Mount Shasta. It almost looks like the state of Virginia, doesn't it? That's your.
Yeah, it does.
You kind of lived there for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like, is it Virginia or is it? And I used to live in Potomac, Maryland, but how old was I when I moved from there? Like 10. I lived there from 7 to 10 when I was back in the 60s. That's where I first got my first guitar, though, was in Maryland. So, yes, sorry we didn't get a whole lot of lesson in, but I'm pretty good about giving you something to work on every week. So hopefully next week, I don't know what I'm going to teach on next week. I may continue on the ear training. Why not? Because we can work our way through the scale maybe. But like I said, you could probably actually start to pick it up with the apps that you can buy if you really want to work on your ear training. The really ultimate goal, and it's so true for me that this E string's going to be flat, but I had to replace it. It broke. You can see it's a different color.
Yep. There you go.
Not warmed up. But when I have a guitar in my hand, my ear is much better. It's the weirdest thing. Like if I hear a chord progression on the guitar, I'm like, I can hear it much better and find it much faster than if I'm just like, okay, that's a minor chord, that's a major chord, that's whatever. So, and I think that's totally natural, and there's nothing wrong with that. My point is that there's certain skills that if you don't use, you'll lose. And I think that the ear training thing is kind of one of those things where if you're not using it in some way, shape, or form, you might lose it. Now, here's my recommendation. And my recommendation is if you're trying to figure out a song, there's a song you want to learn. I don't care how easy or hard it is. If there's a song you want to learn, try to figure it out yourself. I mean, the beauty of MP3, like MP3s or YouTube, you can slow things down now, which is great. And it doesn't change the pitch, which is amazing. And so you can go through, you can go through a song, and as you're figuring out every single individual note, you're working on that ear training. You're learning, oh, that's a whole step. Oh, that's a whole step. Oh, that's a half step. Oh, that's a major third. Boom. As you figure out any riff, and you could even go to Paul David's, one of Paul David's videos, and where he talks about the 50 most famous riffs or something. And you could just get a list of those and try to figure, without looking at his hands, or just pull up the YouTube videos, whether Smoke on the Water or whatever, try to figure it out yourself. You will learn 1,000 times more from that than you will from having someone on YouTube teach you how to play a song or by getting the tab. That's if you've got to learn a song by tomorrow, okay, that makes sense. But if you want to learn about learning, you want layers of learning, then try to figure out things on your own. So you ordered your jelly jars on phone by Walmart, brought them. He said, what tree I was making jelly. Let's see, relative pitch, yes. Relative pitch you can learn. Okay, so in other words, you can learn that that's a fifth, but you may not know that that's a C and a G. If you had perfect pitch, you would know that that was a C and a G. That's the difference. Yeah, it looks great. It is great. It's a great guitar. So, oh, interesting. Gary Book, ask your friend at Google. Auto-translate captions in multiple languages disappeared. Yeah, he's more in the YouTube division. Is that for YouTube? He works more with them, but you may be able to. Oh, it was you. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll ask him. Okay. Well, anyway, we're gonna sign out. We're gonna probably get some food here in a bit. Bruce is probably hungry. You hungry?
Yeah, I'm very hungry.
All right. Bruce is very hungry. So,
couple more things on the guitar box. Guitar.
Okay. Sorry.
The video that caught my eye that started me on this, I had always felt that when I retired, I wanted to do woodworking, and I came across one day, just popped up when I was browsing YouTube, a video by Justin Johnson. So a lot of you have mentioned Justin Johnson from time to time in our live streams, and he was demonstrating one of his cigar box guitars and how you could literally play the chords you want with just one finger, barring right across the three strings.
Right.
And I said, well, that's really cool. And be a fun way for beginners to learn. And I thought, it's also woodworking. I could build those. So that's what got me started. And if you're curious as to what kinds there are a lot of videos on YouTube of cigar box guitars, but the one fellow that I follow, his channel is called Del, D-E-L, Puckett, P-U-C-K-E-T-T. So you can search for him on YouTube, and he's built over 300 cigar box guitars.
Here, I'm subscribed.
He's very creative. He puts a spring inside some of his guitars to make it sound like it's on a reverb.
Oh, nice. That's
All sorts of, he does all sorts of really interesting, creative things with cigar box guitars. He's very knowledgeable. He plays guitar himself, but he builds these cigar box guitars. I know he's built some for professional musicians. He talked about one in one of his videos. He was building for actually a musician out here in LA. I don't remember the name. It was not a name that I recognized, so I don't remember it. I'm sure he wasn't as famous as Tom is.
Yeah, I put a link to his site here.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah.
If you're interested in having me build one, I saw a couple of comments, I think, from David Seitz and Joseph, I think, asked. I'll go through this later this week or early next week, and I'll respond on Discord with some comments about what you might like me to build and what my schedule is, and talk about cost. Generally the parts for cigar box guitars, because they're generally homemade instruments, are not that expensive. You can get that pickup I think I bought was like $20, which is pretty cheap for pickups.
But you're also not buying in bulk, so you don't get that kind of deal.
Yeah, I'm obviously not.
Like somebody who's manufacturing something might buy 1,000 of them and get it for $10. Yeah.
Yeah. So. So anyhow, I would recommend Del Puckett, and I'll get back to you that any of those or any of you that made those comments, and I want to thank everybody for the nice comments that I saw on the guitar. Appreciate it very much. And I was going to say something else, but I forgot what it was now. I lost my train of thought.
Let's see, was it about our relationship or about how long? So you started.
Oh.
I started doing the live stream COVID.
Yep.
So that's when because
I was already subscribed to your channel.
You were already subscribed, so it came. I popped up.
And you remember the coffee chats that you started in early 2019? I've got my cup of coffee. Let's chat. You did a couple of those.
I did a couple of those on Saturday mornings, I think, or something like that. Yeah.
And I was commenting on another name at that time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I was commenting on under my wife's name because I had her iPad that I was watching on, so it would show up as my wife's name. And you thought for a long time that I was Michelle Ringrose. Yeah.
I thought I had a female viewer.
Yeah.
Finally.
I got that straightened out eventually.
Yeah.
But, I've been on this live stream right from the beginning. 125 lessons started in March of 2020. Pepper has been here right from the beginning.
Yeah,
Garrett
Pepper.
Schultz has been here right from the beginning.
Yeah.
There's a couple others. I don't remember their name right now, but
there was an engineer guy. He's not here anymore, but he was an engineer.
Yeah, he was a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
But I don't think
he worked for Northrop Grumman too for a little while, and he started off on his own.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I don't think he was here from the beginning. So.
Can I go to the? I'm trying to see
the video that caught my eye on you back in very early 2019, or maybe even late 2018, was your 7 tips for older beginners.
Yep, and that's how most of you are here, is because of that video. It's still if on a weekly, daily basis, it's still my most viewed video. And I'm not sure. So you find favor with the Google algorithm or the YouTube algorithms. Sorry, I'm just scrolling back to see how far back my live streams go, like my first live stream.
March 18th, 2020.
Yeah, there's NAM Live.
That was lesson number 1.
Yeah, his day at the office. That was a live. Okay. This one here, anyone out there? Okay. First live stream here. Any questions? That was October 16th, 2018. Yeah. And that's in my apartment before I moved here. And then here's the day the office is here in the studio. Take your subscribers to work.
The oldest video I found of yours on YouTube.
Okay, got my coffee.
2011.
Let's talk. So it was just two of them that say "Got my coffee." Let's talk. One and two. So that was one of those. So I think let me open it in a new tab. Let's see if the stream is still. I mean, if the comments are still there, and see what.
Kathy Bell was one of the very early.
Oh, that's right.
Kathy Bell.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we became Facebook friends. Okay, so here's the chat. So if I scroll up.
She was your first moderator.
I'm back.
I could turn off the sound there. Wallace. Pepper. There's Pepper. Pepper, you are. Kathy Bell. There's Kathy Bell. You're right.
Yep. You probably see me there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. P. Russ. Okay. Yeah. Kathy Bell. Yeah. God bless her. I don't know. Egyptian codes. I don't know what that was. Maximus. No, okay. This old helmet. Don't recognize most of these names now. Okay, let me go to the end here.
Yeah, I look back and
there's David. That's David SG. Was I in Rush? And so I keep getting a comment. People think I sound like Nicolas Cage.
Really?
Yes. Do you guys think I sound like Nicolas Cage? And if so, why? What about my voice sounds like Nicolas Cage?
I wouldn't think that. But.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't talk like this because so many actors when they. Okay, so Michael Flynn. Okay, so just looking to see who's. Okay, oops, wrong. Now let me go to the other one. Let's see, that was the first of the two, right? Let me go to got my coffee here. Oh wait, I think I can just. I'll do that. Yeah, not at all. Okay, that's weird. So, have any of you watched that? I've got a new video that I may drop. You know what I may do on this new video is I may go ahead and do a premiere, so we'll all watch it together. Maybe I don't know. It's kind of a inside baseball. It's a mic review thing. I review a bunch of mics. All right, where's the? Oh, so the chat replay is not available on this video for some reason.
Oh.
Yeah, that's weird. So,
yeah.
So some of them have it. That is weird. That one from 2018 had all the chat in there. Live on Thanksgiving Eve. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Bob, we were.
Questions about NAM, and yeah, that's daily lesson. Yeah, here's the COVID daily lesson. Hilarious that it was only 36 minutes long. The first one.
You started off saying it was going to be a half an hour, and within a couple of weeks it went to an hour a day.
Yeah, it was at least an hour because I was going crazy. We were going crazy. I had to take my wife for walks. She was going stir crazy, so we had to go for walks.
Gary Book, if you're still on, I don't have a website for business. I don't intend to do these as a commercial venture.
You could do it all through email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I build them as a hobby, and
do you have a PayPal account or a Venmo or any of those
I
kind
have
of
a
things?
PayPal account.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you can always, and you don't have to make it as elaborate as mine either. Mine's pretty elaborate. So, all right. Sorry, I'm going to log out. Bruce is here. We're going to go get some food. I think I'm going to take him over by my church so you can see my church. I don't know if I can get you in. It's usually on lockdown, but the In-N-Out's right across the street.
Okay.
So
good.
we could even park and eat inside instead of do the drive-through.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you're going to be driving, we might as well keep it simple because you parked in front of me. So it's either park on the street or so I can get my car out, or I'll have you go.
Yeah. We'll just go in my car.
Yeah. So let's see. All right. So that's the plan. I'm sure you care about that. That was very helpful, right, to know where we're going for lunch. Anyway, God bless you all. I will see you next Monday, Lord willing, and we may continue on the ear training. I don't know. Maybe Bruce and I will talk about it and maybe come up with a plan for the next few weeks because I'm always, kind of at a struggle. Thank God I'm not doing it every day like I was back at the beginning of COVID. I always had a struggle to try to find something to talk about that a majority of players can relate to, because I know it's I can really get in the weeds here with technical stuff. Maybe I'll do a new jam track and we can talk about jamming. One thing, now he wasn't here today, but Flat Pick Apprentice, one thing he did was a jam thing where he put the chords up and you could jam along with him and he would play songs. I may do that with Alex at some point. That might be a lot of fun. I may even go to Alex's house and do it with him there. That would be kind of cool. Do a live stream from a different place. So anyway, God bless you. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.